Talking fishing, nothing but fishing, talking fishing. If it's facts about fishing that you want to know, then tune in, folks, cause this is the show. We'll show you all the right bait to use, so sit right back, you got nothing to lose. Doesn't really matter if it's trout or carp, flathead, marlin or a gummy shark. Listen to the guys and you can't go wrong. They'll be talking about fishing till the cows come home. Talking fishing, nothing but fishing, we're talking fishing.
And welcome everyone to Talking Fishing, big show coming to you tonight. And of course the topic of tonight will be, are you allowed to go fishing? Where are you allowed to go fishing? For how long? All that sort of stuff. We're going to cover all that. It's a big night about fishing and boating, of course, because there's some restrictions that are really up in the air and we just don't know how they're going to pan out over the next day or two as things become a little bit more clearly. But, Adam, can I just say to you, this is the one day in 10 years that we're ready for a Saints final, boys. The Noosa Saints, I don't know if you can get a close-up of that, but the Noosa Saints T-shirts have been printed, the Noosa Saints stubby holders have been printed, the Noosa Saints are in town. It's just a pity they're not in Melbourne ads.
Yeah,
but anyway, we're in the finals. Saints are in the finals, first time in 10 years.
Two things, Dave. Where did the Noosa bit come into this?
Well, that's our home ground now.
It's the St Kilda Saints.
No, it's the Noosa Saints. That's our home ground.
Okay. Well, the other thing is, I think it's quite cute that you're celebrating playing in the finals for the first time in 10 years.
Here we go.
Because at Collingwood, mate, we playing this time of year is just another game.
This is a setup.
Yeah, we don't need to celebrate these things, Dave, because it's just the first final. So once we roll West Coast on the weekend, we'll just continually make our way through to the big dance. But, mate, you don't have to take them off when you go for the finals, mate, because it's just always relevant.
That's why I'm doing it now, because this could be the one and only weekend in 10 years. But as I might say that next week, if you're not feeling so good because of the big loss against the West Coast, I've got a spare one for you. I've got a spare stubby holder for you.
Right,
we're going to have money on this.
I'll sip my brewski out of a Saints stubby holder next week. But if the Saints bow out in straight sets and the pies get done, you can wear this lovely jersey on the outside of your shirt
next week
for the entire show.
What about if I bet you, I'm going to introduce you in a sec, Charlie. What about if I bet you that if the Saints are in the finals next week and the Pies aren't, you have to do the first break with your shirt off. So many people want to see that calamari on your chest.
But I've got the ISO rig going on. No one needs to see that.
Trelly, welcome.
Here we go.
Good to see you. The Shepparton Tigers, that's right. They're in the finals.
Yeah, Parker Tiger and Shepparton,
You haven't been at work much this week. All I've seen is fishing photos of you this week.
Well, we've had a couple of really cracker days up there, so I figured a bit of research and development goes a long way.
Yep.
So I actually got the opportunity to get out with my daughter and Mary and little Charlie and have a bit of a fish, which has been great. Yeah, it's been really good.
Yeah. There you
Thank you very
go.
much.
Some cracking fish. We're going to actually see them very shortly because, folks, let's have a look at what's been caught by the people at home, including Mrs. Trelly and little Charlie. It's time for Catch of the Week.
Catch of the Week, brought to you by Shimano.
Now, I'll just put a warning up before we go to these photos. No, this will upset the people from Hastings.
Save the hate mail.
These photos are going to upset the folks from Hastings and probably Stony Point, but more Hastings. Have a look at this. The first 20-pound snapper for the season that we have seen anyway. Nadine Hams last night off Coronella.
Yep.
That's a cracking fish.
That's a ripper. When you can't get your hand around the back of it like that.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, when the tail
so
is
fresh.
Hold it.
So fresh looking too. How good is that? The Corals, another place that's been producing some good snapper, and Mark Andrew got this beauty. Lovely looking fish as well.
Yeah, great fish.
Yeah. Now, can I just say something just quickly? Yeah. When was the last time you had caught a snapper, Dave?
Probably March this year.
We just hadn't seen much of it, have we?
No,
because we haven't been allowed to fish.
No, but people kind of.
I'm talking over the years.
The snapper is still. I mean, there's resident fish in that, but we did some drifting in the shipping channel just off Sorrento, and there's quite a lot of snapper. They're not big snapper, but they're beautiful eating. And Michael Buxton, who's the chair of Future Fish Foundation, I mean, he loves that snapper fishery down there around the shipping channels.
And I had a couple of people in departments ask where you were in the snapper department. catching fish. So you're
No,
missing.
March.
You're missing.
But you know, right now, even though it's snapper fishing, like everyone can go snapper, I go whiting fishing because it's just so good. Anyway, but we're getting yelled at. We've got to keep talking about this. Here's some more snapper. Have a look at this. Wayne Pitts got out in the kayak.
That's right.
Out of Lang Lang, and a lovely snapper off Lang Lang. So good
Nice
fish around.
fish.
Yeah,
Yep.
can always you can
Good
get the
size
kayak, Dave. It's legal.
All these, all these areas are outside of Melbourne Metro. Even though you are allowed to go
boating
fishing in Melbourne Metro, we're going to cover that very, very shortly. But have a look at this. Someone who got out onto Mornington Pier yesterday, Darcy Wallace, a lovely snapper on day one of
That's
being
awesome. How
allowed
good's
to
that?
fish.
Yep.
Allowed to
good's
fish
that?
in Metro
Straight down
Melbourne.
there.
So well done to Darcy. By all reports, Mornington Pier was going quite well, and
Yeah.
along the rocks, right along through Mount Martha. Some lovely calamari caught yesterday off Mornington Pier. Have a look at this, Jerry Morseman.
Oh, geez, they must have been thick.
Oh,
Jerry
Jerry.
get one.
Oh, bear bum Jerry.
Yeah, looking good, Jerry.
Good on you,
and,
Jerry.
Lovely feed of calamari there, which is
I'm not,
fantastic.
I'm not convinced that's you hiding under there, but anyway.
Let's have a look. Oh, let's go to the regions. Some lovely fish being caught out in the regions, and Razor got a lovely bream in the a couple of lovely bream in the Snowy River at Marlow, which was really good.
This is upsetting me, Dave.
What?
I just want to go there.
I know. Get down to Gippy. You love that down there, don't you?
Yeah, I'm getting a bit upset.
You'll
now.
get down there one day.
One day.
Another fantastic place for fishing this time of
This
year.
is- yeah, this
I
is
reckon
awesome.
springtime, early morning, it's still cold,
Yep.
and late evening. Have a look at this. Dennis got a 6.24 pound brown trout out of Lake Purrumbete. Now,
That's a
Dennis was
cracker.
out with Mick from Victorian Inland Charters.
Nice.
I think they got a truckload of redfin as well. Like,
Oh, cool.
absolutely
Yeah, right. Yeah.
slaughtered the redfin. But what a cracking trout out of Purrumbete. And anyone that wants to go and, you don't have a boat or you've never fished the area, I mean, Mick's a good one to get
Yeah.
with too,
Yeah.
and a bit of guiding and
Good.
chartering.
You
and all that sort of
learn,
stuff,
pick
so,
up
yeah.
so many things from
He's a good
those
teacher, isn't he?
guides.
Yeah, look him up.
Trevor.
And he had a very good teacher in Trevor, yeah. Mrs. Trelly makes cuts
Trelly.
tonight. Mrs. Trelly, have a look at this. Mary, a lovely 2 kilo, I think it was about 2.2, wasn't it, or something?
Yeah,
Kilo yellow belly.
It's a cracking hour.
Yeah, it's a nice one. We didn't
Yeah.
measure it because we were going to cook it. So you don't measure fish you cook.
No.
You weigh them.
That's a great
it was
fish.
on
You put on a kilo when you ate
big
the left-hand side, did you?
Yeah, it was just just a big scrub worm. Yeah,
Really?
Just on the edge, just little backwaters of the Murray
Yeah.
River. You just go along and just go along the little backwaters.
Whereabouts on the Murray?
In behind Nathalia in the Barmer Forest there.
Yeah.
Beautiful
And
place.
we
to
should
walk.
mention
Nice.
that New South Wales has opened up fishing to Victorians in the Murray River.
great.
There's no restrictions anymore.
Yeah, I saw a
on that
couple of
'cause
boats going up and down.
there was a restriction.
Lovely
Heading over to over the west a little bit, the Glenelg River. Jim Menzies, a lovely estuary perch,
GPs. Nice.
very nice fish. And let's round it off with a miniature trelly. A
little
Look at
miniature
this,
trelly.
Charlie. Now that is a cracking brown trout, Trelly.
Ah, well.
Come on.
Yeah, it's a brown trout or a salmon.
Or is
But
it?
It jumped a heap of times.
Yeah.
Yeah, behind the boat. We thought we'd actually lost it a couple of times because it was going mad.
Yeah.
Little Charlie was on the rod. He was going mad too. No, he was really good. He was nice and calm. Let the fish run. Come back in, run. Got the net out and got him in. He was a cracker. Really good. So we.
What was it caught on?
On a blue 3.5 size stump jumper.
Oh, so you're towing it?
Yeah, we're
Just trolling along?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah.
The only fish, or did you get a few more?
I got a few. I caught a cracker. Carp. They go, but it was a little jiggle going. Thinking, here we go, we're on.
Yeah.
But it was good. Then we caught some little redfin. So but it was one of those days, Dave. We were talking before how you go. I'm going to go fishing today. It was really good.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you.
There you go. If you'd like to send a pic in of your catch of the week, this is what you have to do.
If you want to be like me and have your photo on TV, email your fishing pic to info@ifish.com.au. Go Pies!
Yeah, I wanna go fishing.
Keep telling the producers to get rid of Malloy in that clip, but why don't we get Chloe on next week if the Saints win and the pie, and she can wear a St Kilda jumper for the whole episode.
No, because by the end of this series, Chloe will be holding up a premiership cup in that little segment there. So
Blah, 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 blah. Coming up next, fisheries news, including where the fish have been stocked in metropolitan Melbourne lakes. Next on Talking Fishing.
Talking fishing.
We know what you'd rather be doing.
We know what you've really got in mind.
We know you'd rather be out fishing, and today's the day you're gonna wet a line. 'Cause every day's a good day. Stop wishing. Every day's a chance to drift away. Drift away. Every day's a good day for fishing. See you down at Tackle World today.
Talking fishing, nothing but fishing, we're talking fishing.
Live from the studios of Channel 31 Melbourne, it's now time for some very fishy news.
And plenty of news this week, even though
Oh, that's me.
You're on the screen there.
Quick to take your St Kilda top off there, Dave. Just saying.
No, just, get back to the right attire.
Hey, where it goes.
Right attire. Still got
on
the
fish.
Needs the Saints, don't you worry about that. All right, let's get into the news. Hastings Ramp, we'll kick it off with that. I think we've got an up-to-date picture to show everyone how Hastings boat ramp is going. So it looks like they're rebuilding.
So is the end of the
cofferdam.
cofferdam supposed to be like that?
They put the
Well, I think they're redoing it.
They're putting the toilet block down the end, are they?
So what you're trying to say is they still haven't even got the cofferdam back up to start the works on the ramp?
Correct.
Yeah, nice.
So anyway, but it's only late. It's only a couple of days till October.
Plenty of time.
So now there was a post. I guess when it happened. So let's have a look at the post that was up on the 15th of September. You can see there, 15th of September, last sentence there. We are working with Mornington Peninsula Shire to investigate the best way to get the project back on track, and we'll release more information as it becomes available. So you would expect that they'd release some more information as it becomes available.
That's what the contractors go away or something, do they?
No, the thing fell down. So so anyway, they're going to release some more information. Now this is the update that was provided 10 days later. This is last Friday night. It says, after a setback with the cofferdam wall at Hastings Boat Ramp, work has continued and will progress over the weekend. Boaters can look forward to better access to Western Port thanks to the $1.6 million upgrade, which will feature a longer ramp and a connecting walkway between the new boat ramp and the floating pontoon. End of communication. Mm-hmm. Now they said, I'm sure they said 10 days ago, we will release more information as it becomes available. That update 10 days later tells you zilch. Absolute zilch.
They're probably still waiting on the information to come to hand.
I think it's just a holding pen for garfish.
It's a big live well.
It's a big live well.
As we saw in Catch of the Week, the snapper are on in Western Port.
That's right.
Some good fish too.
Now, yes, there is restrictions on COVID, and we'll talk about them very, very shortly. But right now, you can't go and launch your boat. Right now, you can't go and launch your boat in Hastings. But we were contacted today, boys, by you guys haven't seen this, but we were contacted by a contractor who reckons they could probably have the boat ramp installed by lunchtime tomorrow. No, and they sent a resume in, and there was a little video clip. Let's have a look at the video. Here we go.
Oh, stop it!
Boat ramp's going in. So let's we're up to about 5 seconds now. Boat ramp's going in there. Team of bulldozers. Like you can imagine this at Hastings. Can it be? Be out fishing by 2 o'clock tomorrow afternoon.
That's right. Good at that rate.
Yeah. Look, in it goes. Just sliding in. This. See that he'd be the head honcho there, the guy that's walking with his hands in his pockets.
Yeah. There's all the markings on how deep that.
Yeah. Have a look at this.
It looks way too easy.
Yeah. They need to get a. That's what they're missing at Better Boating Victoria is that team of bulldozers. And I'll tell you what. Well, this will cover all tides too.
Yeah.
Won't it? Like it's looking good. Now the foreman's there. There's only one bloke with gumboots on. He's on the end. And halt the bulldozers, boys. There you go. Boat ramp's done.
Jeez.
Out fishing this afternoon. How good is that?
There's one massive giveaway on how I know that's not in Australia.
Yeah.
Because there was a dude standing on the ramp as it was being pushed in. There wasn't safety barriers everywhere.
Lollipop.
And anyways, that looks way too easy, Dave.
That story about a contractor contacting us wanting to do it by lunchtime tomorrow was not true. But anyway.
But that's legit though.
I know.
Make that happen.
Yeah, I know. We could. All right, I better get on with it. There's some good news around, I tell you, boys. The headline here is more bay reefs for Geelong fishers. I tell you what, this is good. Geelong fishers will reap the rewards of more fishing funding, with the Victorian government investing $700,000 to install 3 new reefs in Corio Bay. Minister for Fishing and Boating Melissa Horne today announced Polaris Marine have been appointed contractor to build the new reefs, which will provide more homes for fish and better angling options for residents and visitors. The new reefs are part of the government's $35 million Target 1 million investment in improving recreational fishing in Victoria. Went on to say the reef construction will support more than 25 jobs and will make use of local resources such as basalt from the nearby Cherry Creek Juvenile Justice Facility and 100 tonnes of locally sourced limestone. Once installed, the rocky reefs will be seeded with native oysters and mussels to accelerate their development and encourage colonisation by other marine life. The reefs will be placed at Outer Harbour, Kirk Point, we're going to have a look at a map in a minute, and St Helens. The St Helens Reef will deliver better fishing for both boat-based and shore-based fishers, given it will be within casting distance from land. How good is that? The rocky reefs are expected to be completed by the end of 2020 and complement the removal of commercial net fishing from Corio Bay in 2018. Let's have a look at the little map up here we can put up. So there you go, St Helens. Now St Helens is actually going to be, I did have it, I lost it. I think a series of about 5 reefs. Might try and find that for next week.
That's
so
cool.
All within shore distance, so you can cast to it, and then Outer Harbour and Kirk Point.
Nice.
Excuse me, how good's that?
Very good.
Right on the doorstep of Geelong, Trelly.
Yep. Get a few hooks and sinkers cleaned up on that one.
Straight from a tackle shop owner, I can tell you. Oh.
We put a few barbs on it.
Oh, dear. All right, let's keep going. This one here, Lakes Entrance lands, that's the headline, Lakes Entrance lands a better jetty thanks to Grant. And Grant's not a person.
So Grant's going all right. Get him down here.
I think it's Grant Dowling, this one. Fishers in Lakes Entrance now have a bigger, safer spot to wet a line thanks to an upgrade of Reeve Landing Jetty on Bullock Island. Victorian Fisheries Authority's CEO, Travis Dowling, said the $50,000 project was funded through the Recreational Fishing Grants Program, Trelly, that you're on.
Yep.
Which invests fishing licence fees into projects that make a difference. Works were undertaken by Gippsland Ports, which has added a 6x4 metre extension to provide more space for fishers targeting the local bream, crabs and Australian salmon. The jetty provides easy access to the Gippsland Lakes, which will be returned to a recreational fishing mecca under the draft Gippsland Lakes Recreational Fishing Plan. The draft plan outlines 6 steps to enhance the health of the fishery, including fish stocking, proposed changes to bag and size limits for black bream, which we'll talk about later, and improve fish habitat and waterway health. And here's a photo of the jetty. It's a cracker. Really good upgrade there. And during, we prawned off there not so long ago, ads in the boat. It's a really popular area for people throwing the nets out for crabs, for the sand crabs that get there, and that will be packed. There's no doubt about it. That will be packed come crabbing season and prawning season. Absolutely fantastic upgrade, that one. So there you go. Oh, look, I found a bit of paper that's the reefs buried in all the paper. But anyway, don't worry about that. I'll get to that next week. So another really good initiative, and soon we'll talk about you're not addressing the elephant in the room here, Dave. No, the restrictions. No, we'll get to that in a segment or two. We've got a lot to talk about that. But what Fisheries did on hearing the news that fishing has returned to metropolitan Melbourne is they got the trucks rolling first thing Monday morning, and Travis virtually said, I want all the waters, all the lakes that families can go fishing to in metropolitan Melbourne. He wanted them stocked by Wednesday night.
Nice.
And so we've got a list of them we can put up on the screen now. And here we are. So I'll read through some of them. Albert Park Lake, 1,500. This was yesterday. At Caulfield Racecourse, got 300 yesterday. Today, Roxburgh Park Lake, Yarrambat, Lilliput Lane, Garfield Lake, Pakenham Lake, Casey Fields got 550 today. Berwick Springs got 350 today. Ferntree Gully Lake got 450. Rowville Lake's got 550. Don Lake, Lilydale Lake 1,000 today. Emerald Park Lake, 500 today. Spaven Lake, Navan Park Lake, Darlingford Lake, Carkarook Lake got 2,000. Oh, sorry, they'll get 2,000 on Wednesday. So, and later on in the week, I think Thursday, Casey Fields gets another 200 and Berwick Springs another 400. So
awesome.
And from all reports, Ads, plenty of people down at Casey Fields today.
Yeah, plenty down today, and it looks as though there was some quite healthy trout caught down there too on a variety of different methods. But it probably shows just how much, I guess, fishers in the Melbourne metro bubble are dying to go and get amongst it, because the phone calls we've had over the last 2 days about what to take down to Casey Fields has been insane. So it's great.
Well, you wrote a bit of a blog about it, which gives all the hints of where to go and all that sort of stuff. People can check that out.
Dave, we've both been a part of a few kids' days over the years down there, so we've had a chance to scope it out and see what goes on. But the beauty of Casey Fields, it's not very big, which can be a detriment, but also a huge positive, because it means no matter where you go, you are a chance at catching a fish, because they do stock it with healthy numbers.
It's probably about half the size of Victoria. What's yours called? Victoria Lake?
Victoria in Shepparton.
Yeah, it's probably only about half the size of that.
Oh, okay.
It might be a little bit, might be 2/3, but
it's just a nice
good access.
It's got
access
great
is brilliant.
Yeah.
And
I went down there not so long ago to film a little bit of stuff, and it was full to the brim.
Yeah.
Really had a good amount of, obviously we've had a lot of rainfall this year.
What sort of depth is in there? Is it
6 metres in the middle, and I think it goes like 3 metres, and then in the centre drops to 6. So it's totally man-made. So, but Mitch Chapman was down there today.
Yeah, Chappie was down there.
He was getting a fisher cast.
Yep, on seltzers, just on little spinners.
Yeah, and they were good fish.
They were good fish.
Now,
so they haven't put in those, the little tiddlers. They're ready to take home for a feed if mum and dad want to take
I was
kids down.
having a think, Ads. Those fish have actually been held, because when fishing was banned, those fish would have had to have gone in around that time.
July,
and Travis held them back, going, well, why stock them if people can't go fishing? Let's hold them.
Well, that's why that explains the size.
Yeah, so they're cracking size fish. And like you saw on the list, and we'll publish that list on our socials tomorrow, but lots of places to go for a trout fish if you want to get out and have a flick. Yeah. And, only a few more days of school holidays left.
That's right, another week.
Yeah.
Yep.
Be good. All right, coming up next, product of the week. And we head into the kitchen for a rainbow trout pasta. Next on Talking Fishing.
Talking fishing.
Good morning, spotters. Stephanie speaking.
Product of the week, brought to you by Tackle World.
Talking fishing, nothing but fishing, we're talking fishing.
Now, product of the week this week, I'm going to absolutely fly through, because I am banging to talk about these bloody fishing restrictions or whatever they're called.
Break, so.
Anyway, we are celebrating the release of a brand new scent into the wonderful world of scent and fishing and whatnot. Scent, as far as it being used readily, has exploded in the last 5 years. I think people are starting to cotton on to the benefit of it. Yep. I think the science going into the production of these scents for fishermen and fishing are just paying dividends, because you basically wouldn't go fishing without a scent. But it finally happened. Mm-hmm. There is Gulp in a tube.
Oh, way to go.
Yep. So Gulp, probably one of the easiest soft plastics in the world to catch any fish on.
That's right.
The problem is, as soon as you open the packet, the juice goes everywhere. Gets all in your clothes, goes all over the boat, or in my case, the kayak. Goes all over everything that it holds. Now, don't worry about it, because you can squeeze your Gulp gel onto whatever plastic you want,
and everywhere you didn't get
and make it smell like a Gulp. All jokes aside, I think this is going to really kick off the scent market again, because, like I said, Gulp is so massively popular. You can now squirt it onto everything.
That's right.
And it is marketed as though it can be basically applied to soft plastics, metal jigs, hard bodies, bait if you really want to,
Yep.
squid jigs, so you can enhance whatever you can with gulp. But it would be pretty boring if we just talked about gulp gel. I've got a range of scent in front of me that leads the market, from Procure
Yep.
to a squid-orientated only bait, which is Eggimax, though I know it's quite big in the bass scene. You didn't hear that from me.
Yeah.
And also Squidgy S Factor, which I must admit has been my personal favourite for quite a while.
And that's been available in the tube for several years
It
now.
has,
That's right.
yeah, it has. So I think the most important thing to know with a lot of these scents now, they're also being
What's the other
impregnated
stuff?
with... That's Procure. That's been around for a very long time.
Yeah.
This has more flavours than you
Yes.
could poke a stick
got a
out.
heap,
There's heaps of stuff, from freshwater, saltwater, whatever you want. So Procure gives you, I guess, the versatility to match a specific taste and smell to something. Eggimax is the spray, probably the cleanest out of a lot of them. S Factor's been around forever, and now Gulp on the scene as well. UV additive to these has kind of changed the game a little bit, because I know the soft plastic scene in particular is now, a lot of the plastics coming out have got UV impregnated into the plastic. With that, and even some of the Procure scents, you basically put that onto anything, you've now got a UV glow. Now that base colour of UV does differ between a few of them, between blue and greenish sort of chartreuse sort of thing, but UV is just
it's
insane.
another
What it
level
does
of-
to lures and how it reacts underwater is just insane. So now you've got the scent, which includes feeding-based stimulants. It includes pheromones to trigger feeding frenzies.
Yep.
The science and the money spent on developing these things is just wrong. And there's so many on the market. But I think the Gulp one's going to be a bit of a game
'Cause
changer.
you
I
take
said-
those little gulp plastics, or the little baits as they are now, and you leave one out in the sun, and it goes like a slider biscuit.
It does,
Yeah.
and this won't change that. Let me make that.
okay.
Let me make that very clear.
Ah.
This is not a
Like a fish
hydrating
with a slider
scent.
biscuit.
So if you wanted to do that,
slider.
Gulp, you can buy the juice in a bottle.
Yes.
That's what you want to pour on your Gulp plastics to make sure it doesn't dehydrate and go rock hard. This will basically give anything you want that Gulp scent, which I don't need to sit here and tell you how good it is.
Remember the
'cause
old glow bait?
Gulp is just...
Remember the old glow bait? Used to get in a tube, in a tub, and that was called glow bait. Used to put it on all your saltwater fishing. And we have some different ones in freshwater, but again,
So-
scent is something we use up there.
So in the freshwater scene, is it still dominated by garlic scent and
the licorice type one.
aniseed?
Aniseed,
huge.
Yeah. Trelly's grub rub.
The grub rub.
So that's the one you put together. You went camping for a week without a shower, and they spaced it on the
If they could bottle it, they'd make $1 million.
So anyway, scent, it's huge now with the addition of Gulp in a tube. If you haven't mucked around with scent on lures,
Go nuts.
squid jigs, give it a go.
Worms, yabbies, freshwater worms, yabbies, all that sort of thing.
By no means I'm trying to tell you it's going to turn a zero fish day into a bag out, but it can be the difference between coming home with nothing and one or two good fish.
We've fished side by side. Ross and I fished side by side, and we've one of them's caught fish, and the other one eventually caught fish. But I thought we'd just pull them up at the snags.
I think it's important. Use it when things are tough. I mean, don't go
Use it
wasting
on your
it.
squid jigs too.
Yeah, 100%. And don't go using it. If
Squid
the
are a
bite-
bit finicky.
And if the bite's really good, don't go wasting the scent.
Yeah.
It's like I said, it turns 0 into 1 or 2, not 8
Don't leave a little
into
bomb
15.
in the sun in your boat either, because I've had one of them blow up. That's sand everywhere.
You blow something up? No.
There you go. All right, boys, we're going to head into the kitchen now. Another segment. Now, this is the last one.
Has it got some
Well,
rub
I was
rub in
going
it?
to, no, Trelly, you would probably use that garlic one on the end there.
Yeah, it is a garlic one, actually.
He just put prawns and a bit of pasta and a bit of rice.
Squirt the Procure on
And
it.
that's so. But they're
Mary
yelling
Golf.
at us. We should go to the cooking segment. This week is rainbow trout pasta. In the kitchen tonight, rainbow trout. Capers, they've got to be in salt because that adds to the flavour. Asparagus, pasta, parsley, olive oil. This is going to be a treat. I'll cook it up very shortly. Now, you've got to love a rainbow trout. I'm just peeling the skin off now. It's out of the packet. This is smoked. It's absolutely beautiful. So it doesn't actually need to be cooked because it's already been smoked. But you just want that all sort of broken up into pieces because you're going to see how that just goes into the pasta. All we're going to do is heat it It's all a very quick recipe, this one, and you're going to see very, very shortly how I do the asparagus and the capers, because that is the ingredient that really kicks off this beautiful recipe. Now the old Tupperware chopper is out again tonight. Absolutely fantastic, this machine. So what I'm going to do, that container of capers there, don't worry about the amount of salt in there, it's all good. I'm going to do, I don't know, a bit of that. Probably about a third of that. That's enough. Quite salty, I know, but that's the way it is. Asparagus, I want those heads. Just going to chop them up into little bits in there. A little bit of the stalk. Is that enough? No, a little bit more. And in there, put the lid on the chopper. Pasta for tonight is a lovely tagliatelle. That's just going to cook up beautifully. We'll do that in a minute. But got the chopper, like the old lawnmower, like that. Really chop that up, give it a shake. And that there, look at that. Asparagus and capers, that is just going to be absolutely superb in this pasta. All right, the business end, little bit of olive oil into the pan. When I say a little bit, it doesn't matter if there's a little bit too much, because it just adds to the, I guess, the moisture of this dish. In goes the trout, capers and asparagus. In that goes. Now I'm going to have to get the fingers out. Had a bit of a mix around. Just got a nice temperature going there, so mix that around. Now, like I said, that trout's already smoked. It's already cooked, and all we need to do is get a bit of heat into it. I've already cooked up the pasta. I'm going to throw my pasta in already. So, let's get it in. Still looks a bit dry, so a little bit of olive oil. Just get a bit of moisture going into this dish. And really all I'm doing now is putting a bit of heat into this dish, so that is just cooking up. That's just heating superbly. The flavours in this are going to be great. Just about done. I'm going to plate this up now. Lovely pasta with trout, capers and asparagus. When you serve it, it's best to be really, really hot. Have a look at that. Now, a little bit of parsley that I just chopped up. A little bit of pepper. And that there is rainbow trout, capers and asparagus, and is absolutely delightful. Can I just mention that I've got the flick now from cooking?
Yeah.
On the show.
Oh, yeah, I know.
The ladies.
Where was the trout?
I think that bit got edited out. It went too long. Kevin's flicked me, and Women in Rec Fishing Network will be providing our cooking segments from now on. So I reckon they're better than me. So
Don't write in.
No. We're going to go to a break. The LNS coming up. Kramer's mailbag and plenty more on Talking Fishing.
Talking fishing. Talking fishing, nothing but fishing, we're talking fishing.
And just a reminder, this is the one day in 10 years that the Saints are in the finals. The Noosa Saints. How good is that?
Don't get used to it, Dave.
Okay.
This will be their third grand final in, 100 years?
Yeah.
We had two
Which
in
they
one.
won't make.
Or 4.
We made two in 1 year. That was against the
they won
Pies.
by
That was
a
like,
point.
That's
I
right.
think that's
And
the
you
last.
still managed to bugger it up.
Yeah, that's the last final we played in, I think.
Yep.
2010.
In by 1 point.
What a heartbreaker.
Anyway, the Noosa Saints. Yeah, they're looking good. Now, for those that may not know, there was some easing of restrictions on fishing.
Oh, if that's what you can call it.
If that's what you could call it. Some easing of restrictions, and which didn't go down too well. And I think, boys, I said last week that, I think we were really, really expecting fishing to be allowed as of Sunday night. Now, and that's what I expected, and I guess that's what I thought we got. just forgot to lobby about that 5 kilometre limit, I guess. And so it's frustrating that and don't get us wrong, because many thousands of people went fishing yesterday and today. So good on for them. And those people will be happy that they can go down to Casey Fields today, or that there were people down at Mornington Pier for the last 2 days, places like that. But a lot of people can't go fishing because of the 5K limit, and I think that's something that seriously needs some discussion over the next couple of days to see if we can get that that restriction eased a bit, because it's virtually rendering most of Melbourne Metro anglers, it's restricting them from fishing at all. So I think we need to talk about that. But the other, I guess, controversial thing is about boating, and there's been a lot of discussion about can you go boating, can't you go boating, and there just is not anything clear.
And I think this is almost worse, sorry to cut you off, Dave, but I think this is almost worse than the rubbish rules they've put in at the moment with 2 hours per day, 5 kilometres, whatever that business is.
It's hard to understand that.
But how can you possibly release a set of rules around releasing something that a fraternity of people have been looking forward to and leave a grey area that big?
The whole thing's
Who
grey.
comes up with this stuff? It's almost like they can stand up in front of the people and say, guess what, you can go fishing. Congratulations, go us.
Yeah.
What can and can't we do? We are trying desperately to do the right thing. We're sick of being stuck at home.
Yep.
We're sick of not working. We want a little bit of life back as normal. And they go and hit us with these crazy rules that don't make sense.
Yep.
And for whatever rule we can't make sense of, there's a grey area that's almost not even worth talking about.
Yeah.
You may as well throw the towel in and stay home.
Well, I think there's been some. I've certainly seen some drafts, but it was only just before we went to air tonight, and it was really hard to read on the phone. So I'm not going to park that because.
Not going to speculate.
Well, it was just too hard to read.
Go on, have a bit of a stand.
No, but I think it said boating was allowed, and certainly I don't know if anyone watched the Premier's press conference today, but he got asked about boating and he virtually said you can go boating within the 5 kilometres. But I think that will all be clarified tomorrow. So best not to speculate. But let's get to some mailbag because there's quite a lot of mail about this. This is from James. G'day boys at Talking Fishing. Keep up the good work, fellas. Don't get me started. For God's sake, can anyone tell me where it says whether or not we can go boating in Metro Melbourne? I have my local boat ramp and plenty of water within 5 kilometres of home, but no bloody idea what the rules are anymore. Where would you logically think to get the facts about whether or not boating and boat ramps were now open for Melburnians living under new Step 2 restrictions? Well, don't bother looking at Bloody Boating Victoria website. It's meant to be Better Boating Victoria. Or their Facebook page. No updates there. On Monday, their website still had the old information that fishing was banned in Metro Melbourne. They can't even get the basics right. I messaged them on Facebook, no reply. They don't even list a phone number to ring. Looking at their website on Tuesday morning, the restrictions page now says not found. No updates from the VFA website or Facebook. Nothing new about boating on the DHHS website either.
And who's that, James?
That was from James.
And this is the biggest problem, James. Majority of those organisations don't know the rules either.
No.
And that is the biggest joke out of everything.
Imagine if they did have a phone number.
It'd melt.
You'd accidentally unplug that bad boy.
This is Adrian. There's some pretty interesting things here. So Adrian writes, I went out fishing today after I spoke to the water police yesterday afternoon regarding the restrictions. They told me that it is a grey area.
Really?
And to call the DHS to confirm if I can go fishing on my boat. So I called the DHHS yesterday at 4:50 p.m. and she told me the regulations required are no more than 5 kilometres from home for 2 hours only. Face masks must be worn and social distancing. There is no difference if driving a car or a boat. For recreational exercise, I live in Middle Park and the boat is at St Kilda Marina. I went to Port Melbourne, which is 3.4 kilometres from home, and 1 hour later the police came. 1 hour later, the police came. First, he told me that fishing was illegal, but then his partner told him that it wasn't.
Jesus.
No, there's better ones. And he told me that the fishing from a powerboat is illegal, and I told him that the DHS told me that it is okay as long as I follow the COVID regulations. The water police told me that she was wrong and to go back to shore. They didn't fine us. Hopefully we can clarify it on tonight's show, or we can't, not just yet.
But that's the problem with that. I mean, these
Exactly,
poor
this is
buggers on
the
the front
thing.
line too.
No one
they're trying
knows.
Yeah, no, okay. This is one's from Lindsay, right? I called the hotline yesterday at 8:30 a.m, spoke to a girl called Emma. She confirmed that we were allowed to launch our boat as long as we were in the 5k radius and we were good to go. I called a mate and he was not sure whether to believe me. So he called them. They could not answer on the spot. So they gave him a call back and confirmed the answer I got. I went online and I checked the ramps and they were all open on the boating website. It showed some people had already hit the water on the webcams. I hooked the boat up and called a mate who was coming out with me. At around 10:30 a.m, my mate arrived, and just before we left, we went online to have a look at the ramps and how busy they were. When we looked, all the ramp status had changed to closed.
Oh, Jesus.
We called back the COVID hotline again, and they confirmed the first answer, that we could go out. This is causing so much confusion. Anyway, I'm sure...
Emma, your number's going to come up on the bottom of the screen in a minute.
I reckon Emma should be on the panel that decides whether we can or can't go.
I'm pretty sure
Emma.
Emma's about to hang the boots up from our job over the last 24 hours.
All right. There's lots more. We could keep going on about it. I wanted to cover this one, and we're going to go over a little bit here. But last week we talked about Bream and the potential for changing, they were talking about a maximum size limit. This is a Fisheries survey, VFA survey, maximum of 40 centimetres and a reduced bag limit 10 to 5. And then should the bag limit be a statewide thing? So you actually said on camera, let's get Brett Geddes to give us some information.
Yes.
So
And
Brett's
Brett reached out.
Brett's given us some information. Thanks for the kind words on the show. I also filled out the survey. Well done, Brett. Responding to your request, Adam. I'm right there with you and agree about the 40 centimetre max size. If over time stocks dramatically improve, maybe then reassess. I reckon the bag limit should be the same as the dusky flathead at 5 fish. That makes it easier to remember for both the common species caught in East Gippy. Saves confusion. The 5 fish limit would not affect many anglers who, do you know, mainly bait anglers that have caught more than 5 legal bream each time they fish. Probably not many. The limit avoids freezers stacking up with fish that usually don't get used and gives bait anglers a good excuse to go fishing again because you only eat them fresh. As you know, lure anglers don't pose a threat to bream, full stop. Last of all, it's very important to embrace and support the taking and eating of bream and other fish to make sure ill-informed minority groups don't try and fully stop us from catching and enjoying our favourite hobby. So well done to Brett.
Thank you, Brett.
I want to get through these. Paul, now this is a very interesting one, right? And I know we're going a bit long and they're yelling at us, but just want to get this one out. Paul, some feedback on my local bream spot. We might discuss this after the next break because they're yelling at us. I've been fishing the Morty Creek and Pier for 45 years for bream. It was an amazing place that no one else fished except those locals in the know. I've pulled many 40 to 50 centimetre stonkers from the pylons and all were released. But in the past 5 to 10 years, the place has been raided. Huge 40-year-old breeding fish have been completely obliterated. Anglers with 3 or 4 rods with live shrimp killing it. So I'm completely supportive of a bag and size limit, otherwise these special locations will be gone forever. That's from Paul. So that's a good angle coming in from Paul. You know that. I see them in Patterson River Marina.
Yeah.
There are stonkers in there, and you're not allowed to fish inside the marina.
Yeah. Right throughout that Patterson Lake system.
It's a good debate to have, boys, and we might. I know we're going to go to a break, but when we get back, might just chat a bit more about that. So, if you'd like to write into Kramer's mailbag, this is what you do.
Send your mail to Kramer's Mailbag, PO Box 734, Patterson Lakes, Victoria 3197, or email kramer@ifish.com.au.
Coming up next, hotspots, and we're going to talk more about protecting fish. Trelly, I want to hear your thoughts because there's a slot limit for cod.
Yes.
And it's there for a reason. So let's talk about that very soon on Talking Fishing.
Talking fishing.
Morris Yacht Squadron, Melbourne's premier trailer boat club.
Talking fishing, nothing but fishing, we're talking fishing.
And now the segment you've all been waiting for, Fishing Hotspots, brought to you by the Beaumaris Motor Yacht Squadron, Melbourne's premier trailer boat club.
Now, I know there's been the odd occasion where we've left our microphones on during ad breaks, but you blokes just talk dribble then.
Oh, whatever.
You want Travis Dowling to come on the show, not because of all the stuff that's going on in fishing, but because he barracks for Collingwood.
Exactly, and he's going to wear his Collingwood jersey, and he's going to stand over there with a mask on, and we can just bask in the glory of Travis Dowling and his Collingwood jersey.
I read there's a restriction that the CEO of the VFA is not allowed within 5 kilometres of talking fishing.
Unless he's wearing a Collingwood jersey.
God, it's hard work when these clans are playing. We're going to get through these quick because we've got a bit to talk about. Let's have a look at the first one. St Leonard's absolutely on fire with 39 40 centimetre King George whiting at the moment. It's just been absolutely fantastic over that side.
Excellent.
Mornington Pier, snapper and calamari, as you saw in hotspots earlier on. In Catch of the Week earlier on. Also the rocks, anywhere along the rocks, been really good.
Pretty sure that Catch of the Week fish was taken on a soft plastic. So grab yourself a bit of grub, get down there with some plastics and get amongst
When
them.
we get those big Westleys too, those rocks are going to fire up along there. Lilydale Lake, as you saw earlier on, has been stocked today, I think Lilydale was, so plenty of trout there. Let's keep moving along. Casey Fields is another one. There'll be quite a few anglers out there tomorrow, I reckon.
Pink power bait and salters.
Yeah.
Words out.
There you go. Now, if you want to head up the bush, Trelly, where it's unrestricted territory.
That's right.
Someone from Geelong can go fishing at Mallacoota if they want.
Exactly.
Someone from Mallacoota can go to Portland if they want.
Yep.
Right,
Well, it should be.
So, if you want to get up, there's not a lot of publicity, but the stonkers are in, 1,000 of them up in the Goulburn River. So, if you want to head up to Thornton, it's our next hotspot. Get onto the stonkers up there, and if you want some big calamari, I know old mate sent photos in our episode 2 weeks ago. He sent more photos of some monster calamari in Cleveland Bight down there on Phillip Island. So, there you go.
Very good.
Let's continue on the theme of the bream, Charlie. Now, let's talk about cod, because the slot limit was only introduced a few years ago now.
That's correct. Yeah.
Why?
One of the biggest reasons is it actually gives the fish time to actually breed. Excuse me. So you get in a couple of seasons, 2 or 3 seasons of breeding before they reach that 55 centimetre limit. And then once they get to that next 75 centimetre limit, they continue to breed. So you might have a fish at, say, 65 centimetres that produces, say, 30,000 eggs. But you might have, or say 20,000 eggs, then you might have it at, once it gets past 70, it might produce like 90,000 eggs. So once it gets past a certain thing, their egg count goes up tremendously, which then restocks your rivers and that type of thing, besides what good work the VFA do when restocking rivers. You get that natural spawning as well. So it gives you that slope, and they're only good to eat, really, in between that anyway. Once you get big, they get fatty. Too small is not enough on them.
Was the reason, we know that Murray cod were in endangered virtually species, weren't they? Were close to. Well, they're protected species.
Well, protected species,
I think the better way to say it, Was that limit put on because the stock needs rebuilding?
I think
or is it more a social thing?
I think it's it's a social thing, plus it's just future thinking. It's just good future, foundation type thinking, where you go, right, if we put it in now, it's going to be something that, and they could change it. Look, they could change it and make the limit, a metre long for a year, so you can catch a few metre fish. I don't know, but they're able to do that. But if you've got to start somewhere and get some results, do a bit of science, get it back on the board and go from there.
Are there waters that you would say, perhaps, the changes to the cod limits shouldn't have occurred in? Because that's, I guess, a bit of the debate with bream, is that do you do it only in the Gympie Lakes because the stocks are low, whereas the stocks are abundant in a lot of other estuaries throughout Victoria?
Yeah, good question. Look, you could probably make a bit of an argument perhaps for Eildon, being a stocked, and I don't reproduce there as well as other areas.
So you could be able to knock one on the head at 90 centimetres?
Yeah, that's right. But then you start to confuse people, and you start to, if you bring in different sizes, then, where'd you catch it, mate? I caught it over there, blah, blah, blah. So, no, I think, I know probably 99% of Murray cod fishermen are happy with what's happened. Really good series. And you can apply that, I suppose, same thinking to what you wanted to talk about with the bream and that type of thing.
A question without notice, Charlie, is, and I don't know the answer, is fishing something similar to, say, in the hunting fraternity, where hunters will go and say they'll go and target to shoot the big mature buck that's past its prime, but's potentially stopping some of the younger bucks from moving up in the chain and keeping the whole thing fresh and nice.
Yeah,
Is that a similar sort of thing for fish?
No, well, it was always a thought, but I believe, and I might be wrong, but I believe that they do keep producing even into those really big sizes. Yep. They still do keep producing, unlike the buck that you say that gets a bit, gets trampled on by the young
or the human being that slows down.
That's right.
At a certain age.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, interesting debate, isn't it?
It is.
I'd love to, and I'm not sure whether the VFA are allowed to come in the studio. I'll have to check on that. But wouldn't it be good to get some of the survey results now, just to start talking about how they're coming out?
The surveys are so critically important because you get to hear from people. So please, if you are not interested in bream fishing, please fill out the survey, because I have a bias towards bream.
Yeah.
I love bream fishing. I grew up bream fishing. I still do it now. So I have a bias towards those fish. We need to hear from everybody, even if you're not a bream fisherman.
There you go. We're out of time. Sorry about that, but that's it for Talking Fishing. Hope you enjoyed the show. Some cracking weather heading our way towards the end of the week, with mid to high 20s and probably 30 up your way, Trelly.
That's right.
There's plenty of fish on the bite, so enjoy it if you can. Until we see you again next Tuesday on Talking Fishing, please stay safe on the water and enjoy your fishing.
Talking fishing, nothing but fishing, we're talking fishing. We got all you need, just take a look. Watch those fish jump on your hook. So just relax and take your time. Enjoy the show, then drop us a line. Talking fishing, nothing but fishing, we're talking fishing. Talking fishing, nothing but fishing, we're talking fishing. Talking fishing.
Have a good weekend, Mr. Walker.
You too, son.